welcome to Seem to Live the Dream. Are you pregnant with purpose? And today we are talking about the second trimester. In the first trimester, we went through the process of what it takes to become pregnant, what happens after you become pregnant, the process of testing and determining that you are pregnant, then going into the third month and the process of what that third month looks like of pregnancy, and then reviewing the same aspects of what that looks like in your business. Now, we're entering month 4. Now, maybe I did not address this before. Why would you say 9 months? I heard a business person say about she said 6 or 7 years ago that anytime you're starting a business, it takes about 7 to 9 months for you to be able to establish that one stream of income before you should be able to say, let me move to my next stream. So that's the same amount of time that a gestation of a baby takes, that 9 or 10 month mark. So when you are trying to build or birth a business, you should go by that same time frame. So as we operate or walk into the 4th month, what does month 4 look like for you? Let's look at what you do traditionally as a pregnant woman, and then what you should be doing traditionally as a business. Okay. You passed the months of morning sickness. You are no longer in that stage. You're feeling good. You just have to keep up your regular checkups. You're eating right, exercising, nothing strenuous, but you're also checking on the growth and development of the child. You can now start to really see that you're pregnant, and time finally starts to tell people that you are pregnant and have made it past the miscarriage stage. You're starting to gain weight, and you can even give into your cravings a bit. Also, as a business, a person that is pregnant with purpose during this phase, you will notice now that you're starting to get direction, because in this phase you're in a place where you feel comfortable within the process of building what it is that you're doing. You gained a bit of a momentum. You are feeding the business what it needs, meaning maybe you are gaining knowledge, meaning getting mentoring, going to coaching classes, reading books, doing what's necessary to, like a person that's exercising, flex the muscles in order to be able to retain the ability to continue to move forward in this business that you are building. So that looks like you building out certain elements. It looks like you, let me see if I can figure out an example, that you are exercising in order for you to be able to have enough tenacity to be able to travel to the places that you need to travel to, city by city, in order to be able to go and maintain the business alignments and arrangements and business meetings and so on and so forth. You're able to now keep up with your calendar. You're now able to keep up with the appointments. You're now able to go to the meetings, the dinners, the arrangements, in order to come into alignment with an agreement with the people and places. that you are assigned to and aligned to walk in the season. So you're not doing too much strenuous stuff, meaning you're not getting ahead of yourself, let's say. Meaning you see the vision in which you're pursuing, but you're not trying to skip steps or be too hard on yourself in order to see that you get to the goal of being able to pursue and create this business the way that you desire to create it. You're just going with the flow of things. And just as you would go on and check with the growth and development, you're checking your budgets, you're checking your finances, you're making sure all things are quarterly and so on and so forth, adding up for your end goal for whatever your units are that you were meant to be able to sell in order to meet your yearly revenue goal or your yearly aesthetic, so that you can reach the financial place in which you desire to be by the end of quarterly, yearly, what have you. Your cravings. You are now able to give into those cravings. Now, this may mean that you may have enough money either invested or it was invested into you that you can invest into the things that may be able to enhance your business trainings, certain things like outsourcing. You may not be able to outsource much, but you'll have enough to be able to outsource certain parts through contracts or something like that. The things that you would want to do as a bigger business owner that you may not be able to do, but you are craving the ability to test the waters. It allows you the ability to test in these areas that makes you feel more comfortable within the sea of being in business. Now, does that mean go crazy and think that you got the money that you can do that? If you got the money in the budget that you can afford to do this monthly by monthly, then do that. But sometimes you just need to test it. You see that there's something in there like, okay, somebody's running a sale for a company that you really was interested in using their product or software to be able to make your productivity move quicker, and they're running it for 3 months, and you're like, okay, if I plan in the budget and look at this, I would be able to purchase that software for that period of time. It's already free for this amount of period of time, and then by the time that I'm actually going to need to pay for it, is already I should have made back enough to XYZ. So you're able to give into your cravings just a little bit. Things that are going to make it a little bit easier for you to operate in the business. Or even be able to run ads and endorsements. Instagram, as you know, has the ability for you now to do subscriptions, and you also now have the ability that I get advertisements all the time. Now that I'm doing these videos, I'm getting advertisements on the videos that say that I can literally turn my videos into ad revenue by putting out $5 or $10 worth of ad sourcing to push these videos out if I wanted to. But I actually got advisement from a mentor. He said, be careful of that, because basically they're trying to do, I ain't even gonna get in it, but there's a reason why they want to push you to push your material out at that particular time, way, or pace. And I look at it like, but if you have the ability to do it and you feel comfortable with the promotional endorsements and so on and so forth, or maybe you have enough money that you can go to any of the, because I've had 15,000 people as soon as I started to really push on Instagram, Facebook business page, so that I could push the promotion and timing out of my posts for my podcast. oh, I got 30,000 people, especially because I was hashtagging. They started pushing, hey, we'll do your promotion for $5. We'll do your promotions. Pay us $100. Pay us this. If you're a podcaster, it's like, ugh, I ain't doing it unless I know you and or trust you, and or I have a repertoire with you. That's the only real reason that I would ever go along with endorsement or something like that. I was literally watching a video about this yesterday. It was another Christian creator, and she said that she got to a point that she became so absorbed with, she desired to want to create the channel because of the fact that she wanted to use it as a source of income to replace her job. She was successful in doing that, but she found that she had lost her spark for it because she had to constantly promote, sponsorship after sponsorship after sponsorship, and her spirit became crushed behind that, and it did not feel good to her soul, so she ended up letting the whole process go. You got to know what's good for you. Go in for your checkups. I'll say this, just like I was just talking about the promotions, getting the coach. Having a coach can lead you. You may feel a little uncomfortable. For instance, sometimes I'll have time frames where money will come to me, and when I get blessed, unforeseen financial blessings, that I'll be like, okay, I'm going to take my 10% here, I'll put my 10% there, but I'm going to invest because I went to a money management conference, a 3-day money management conference for free. And in that 3-day money management conference, they give you 6 pillars to build your finances upon, which is your, they're not going to be in order, your necessities, your play money, your nest egg, education, philanthropy and or giving. And there's a 6th one I cannot think of off the top of my head right now. But breaking down my finances in such a way, understanding, oh, I may have $100 over here. Let me push that money over here. Having a coach will help you avoid making financial mistakes, because I will tell you this. I remember one time, this happened to me a couple of times, so I actually have to be aware of this anytime I'm using money, that, and especially in today's society, with the fact that so many people have walked away from their jobs, there is this bombardment of gurus at this particular point in time bombarding any business person's feed talking about business. So if I'm a business person and I'm talking about business, I get bombarded by your Tony Evanses and your Dean Garizzios and your this person and your financiers and your coaches and all of this. If I speak the word coach out my mouth, I'm gonna get 15 ads about coaches on my page, whether it's on here, whether it's on YouTube. I get so many ads about this stuff all the time. I want to throw my phone half the time, because I'm like, sometimes the information is good. Sometimes I listen to it just to see if it sparks something. Not really because I'm seriously entertaining the thing. It's just I want to see if it connects to something that I'm working on, and I pray about it and see if that's the direction I should really go. But having the coach that I have, being able to take the certain steps towards being able to move into the things that I'm desiring to, I never miss an opportunity to be in one of her broadcasts, to be in something that she's talking about, because something she could say off the cuff. The other day, I was in a prayer call with her, and she was talking about something in relation to business, and she was having, it was like a personal conversation between her and this other woman that is involved in something that she's working on. And just listening to them talk, I got an entire idea just listening to the conversation, because I heard one sentence that she stated which reminded me of something that I had done and was thinking about, and I just ran with it and came up with an entire segment of a plan that I was working on. I'm like, yeah, coaches help. It's a check-in. They become your accountability. I know that there are times that I've had access to my coach, and I even know now that if I reach out to her, I try to, at my best, be able to give back to her something that I know that she's already given to me. Because if she's advised me and I have not done what she's advised me in, why am I reaching out to her to get any more advice? It's like your parent. I just gave you an instruction. Why did you call me back and didn't do what I just said? But what I found is that sometimes you will get an instruction, and to you in that moment, one, it's not that you're being insubordinate, it's that you don't understand the instruction. And when what is it, I was listening to an apostle today, and he was talking about the fact that you need to be able to see with your ears. Sometimes you need to hear the thing, and when it reaches a point in your understanding, that's when the next phase of the instruction can be released. For me, there was instructions that my coach gave me last year that I heard. I wrote them down. I took them in. I understood them. But in all actuality, in going back, I didn't get it. But it's like the second that January 1st hit, I started to get new downloads and new visions, and I'm sitting there. Didn't coach tell me to do that 6 months ago? Didn't coach tell me to do that 9 months ago? Didn't coach tell me to do that? And I'm like, but my understanding had not caught up with what my instruction was. So I didn't know that's what I needed to do within that moment in order to make the thing that I was seeing progress, because it wasn't in a way that I understood, that I actually literally had to come to a point where I was in my prayer time. Yes, I'm Christian. I'm this person like in these reels that you hear where it's like, you gonna hear about this Christ. Okay. I had to get to that point where I had to pray about it. I'm like, Lord, if you want me to do what this person is telling me to do, I need some understanding so that I can understand, because I could not see myself doing it because I had no connection to it. It was nothing within it that made me feel connected to the process of it, that other than me then feeling like I was doing a job and my consistency would be off because I had no attachment to it. There was no drive to it. There was no passion for the activity. So if it was no passion for that activity, I had no understanding of my reason as to why I should keep moving forward towards that thing. So in having a coach, in having people that I listen to, Coach Livy Anderson on here, who is Olivia with Love, Dr. Jolyn Whitaker of Relevant Church, Robert and Marla Sales, that they do words of inspiration, Tiffany Montgomery. I was literally watching her ministry earlier today, and it was a beautiful experience. John and Valora Cole, I haven't listened to them in a while. I may pick them back up, but I listen to people as I am led to listen to people. I sow into people as I'm led to sow into people. And in some seasons, I may or may not go back to a person. Prophet Ruckins McKinley, I've been trying to get back to him for some reason. I haven't really been able to get back into alignment with him. And it's funny because I'm kind of called to the things that he talks about. Or at one point I was listening to Radical Roberts, and yes, the apostle I was listening to earlier was Apostle E. Youngblood, Richard E. Youngblood from the Latter House Church. These are all accountability people that have kept me accountable in one way or another. And they're all from different phases of the fivefold ministry, which are preachers, teachers, pastors, apostles, and evangelists. They have the ability to speak into the areas of me that I may not understand. The apostle is a builder. So those of us that are builders or creators or innovators, 9 times out of 10, if you are into biblical teaching, you are an understanding on the spiritual side. Anointings, apostolic anointing is the builder. So being able to pray into it and walk in the motivation of it and operate for me in what it takes in order for me to be able to become and walk into the alignment of said thing. Now, you hit the 5th month. This is the month of grace. Month number 5. Your feet are hurting. Your back hurts. You get the pregnancy brain, which you don't remember half of the things that you plan on saying or doing. You are thoroughly exhausted and you're moody at the same time. And these same things will happen with your business baby as well. You become exhausted at a point that you want to be curled up in bed. You don't want to do nothing. And if it wasn't for those people that I mentioned, my brain fog wouldn't allow me the ability to move forward at all in anything. And everything in me seemed to be going wrong. I felt uncomfortable. I wanted to rest, curl up, and not keep moving. But you have to keep moving. And it's that choice to keep moving that isn't an option. What do I mean? What I have found in certain seasons of my life, when I am pushing forward to try to assume to get certain things done, I'll admit it even now. You see these bags and these dark circles and dark spots? I'm honest, okay? I don't put on makeup like that. And when I do, that's the only reason I put it on, is to cover these dark round circles around my eyes, because I spend 95% of the time staring into this phone or on this computer. And now that I got a mini tablet, I'm on there looking at stuff. So when I don't want this hot computer sitting on my lap, it's a certain amount of things that you got to do to continue to maintain in these internet streets. Let's just call it that. But anytime you're in a season of growth, you're going to get tired. When I tell you tired, you get tired. There are times that I will get an idea for something, and I'm like, yes, that was the instruction I was waiting for in order to move forward in this thing. And the second I move forward in trying to get that thing in order, it will be like the sleepiest stick was knocked on my head and I got so tired. Like last night, I wanted to sit up and go into prayer about some things. It was prayer vigil time. My pastor was speaking online, and the next thing I know, I'm waking up at midnight and the prayer vigil is almost over. And I'm like, what just happened? How did I miss the whole prayer vigil? Then when I sat up to start praying, I'm like, okay, it's 12 o'clock. I'm going to start praying. I start praying and knocked out. Wake up like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what time it was. I didn't actually get up. I didn't move. I started praying again. Not 5 minutes into it, knocked back out until sunrise. I got it at sunrise. I could get into the reasons why I know what was going on with that, but I'm not here. I'm gonna have to go into a dark scope, a deep scope, a I don't know. I have to pray about whether I'm gonna do some Christian scopes. And I may just wait until I get my own platform and I just go into these types of things because there are reasons for all this stuff. But on these public platforms, they don't like you talking too deep about certain things. So I'm not gonna go all the way in there. But as you grow, you will find that you will reach certain plateaus in your ability, and you have to press through. This is where you hear the saying, press through. You're gonna get tired, but you're gonna have to press through and into that next segment and that next section and that next thing. You press into it, you press through it, you walk through it so that you may be able to continue to maintain into that thing that you're seeking to make. And you're gonna be tired, and you're gonna have these dark circles, and you're going to be exhausted, and you're going to have those moments where you don't know what your next instruction is. Right now, I'm gonna be 100% honest. I'm in the middle of, I sat down the other day and I came to the understanding and the conclusion that I have maybe about 5 sections of things that I can do right now, but I need to know, am I doing each it's like 5 different places of income. Some I cannot do right now because the people are not in place that those things can be done. But I can plan for how to get the people into those places. But with understanding of that planning, I have to understand that I must move strategically in how I bring people in, how they are brought, and in what way I go about seeking to get that thing done. And everything is a process. And there's 2 sections that are just like that. Then there's this other thing I was listening to my coach the other day. Thank God for accountability and check-in. Just like I just said, I was like, she's making a point of saying, and she was referring to somebody else. I love it when I get answers like that make me go ding, where it's like, she said, get a membership. Go get the membership. Create the membership. Use videos. Use this type of platform. And in using that type of platform for that, do this. I'm like, okay. I have something already set up in my social media that if I chose to, I could literally take the exact same advice that she wasn't even giving to me, she was giving it to somebody else, and do that on my own website as a membership. Now, is it my place to do that? Am I in the right place? Am I in the right season to do that? Is that what I'm supposed to do in this time? Because sometimes it may not be your season to do that thing. I remember a few years ago, I had the ability to know how to make food under any circumstances. And I had some food that I had access to, and I worked that thing in the microwave in a specific way that I remember I was sitting down working with it at my desk, and there was a bunch of people sitting around me at the time. I was a little tired that day. I didn't feel all that great, and I didn't even know if I wanted to eat it. And after I made it, I actually chose not to eat it, but I sat there and I worked this thing together. And everybody sitting there were like, oh my God, you just did that with the microwave. And it was a couple of other people. I had done the same thing. I went somewhere, bought the food, made it in the microwave, just like that, brought it back for one of my roommates. She took the food and went to the, what is it, the commissary area or something like that. and she had her friends. She was eating lunch with her friends, the same thing that I had made her, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, she made this. She, uh, can you tell her we'll pay her to do?" I was like, man, and I went back to my coach. I was like, "Coach, you think I should do this?" She was like, "In the season that you're in, don't do it." And I was like, And see, because I'm not the person that's chasing after money, I chose not to do it. I follow instincts, because in certain seasons, you're not supposed to do something. I did it. I did what I did as a form of giving, because my roommate at the time was homesick for a homemade meal. So I made it for her. But at the time, I could have kept doing that and feeding other people, but it was not my place to in that season of my life. It's understanding how and in which way you're meant to bless people, or that tiredness will come upon you. When you are in certain seasons and the season has expired, and or you are reaching your plateau and you're breaking through a ceiling, you will come upon a tiredness that will feel like it's trying to oppress you from reaching your next plateau. But when you press through that, you will find that the easier it will get once you pass through that plateau. But you will go through the tiredness. You will go through wanting to not wanting to keep moving. That's why in these particular types of seasons, you must keep going, because it's in your keeping going and completing the task which will bring the relief that you're seeking to be able to keep moving forward in the next thing without the exhaustion. I know it doesn't seem to make sense, but think about it. It works. Because you're just it's like the old saying that someone else's ceiling may become your floor. But in order for you to get to that floor, you must break through the ceiling. And in you breaking through that ceiling, you're going to be tired because you're breaking through it. But once you reach that next level, now you're on the floor again, but in a higher elevation, higher thought process, higher experience. And then you scale again. It's a process on top of a process on top of a process. That's why month by month during a pregnancy, you go through different sets of changes that prepare you for when the child comes. Now, here you are in month 6, which is a home stretch. You're about halfway through the pregnancy. Actually, you're more than halfway through the pregnancy, because if you're determining the pregnancy by the pregnancy being 40 weeks, so when you hit the 6-month mark, that is the halfway point. Unless you're talking about a 36-week pregnancy, which means you're only going to be pregnant another 16 weeks. But at this particular point in time, it's time for you to get serious about your plan for the birth of your child. What is this thing going to look like? The hospital. Are you getting your nursery ready? Having the baby shower? Going into birthing classes? Preparing? Choosing where and when you're going to birth this thing? What does this look like? You've gone past that point where you're in the planning phase. Now you're in the phase where you see that all things are working on all cylinders. Now you're thinking about launching campaigns, endorsements, ads, pushing the thing out there. How does the launch look? You've already maybe have gone through a cycle, because some people do cyclical products where they run, for instance, the people that run challenges, they run a challenge every season for once a month, once every 3 months, and it brings in a certain amount of revenue. They understand how that operates. They understand that they get a certain amount and they are reaching their goal, and how to continue to keep that going, either whether they're selling a product on the back end or whatever that thing is, in order to keep the units being sold, and how to scale up so that that thing is moving, and then turning that, because the point is, once the baby is born, to really, that once you've gotten a hang of this thing, to put it into an automated system that it will operate by itself and becomes a now automated form of a stream of income that you don't have to babysit no more. And because it operates in such a way that it's retaining revenue, that you're able to make revenue off of it without putting yourself out there. For instance, it'd be like me having this entire series of videos recorded and then just posting them, instead of me sitting in front of the camera and actually talking to you guys. Meaning having the ability that if any person comes within this broadcast while I am recording, I have the ability to say, hey, how you doing? I can literally do that. I can do that now if I wanted to, because when the replay happens, ain't nobody gonna see the names of the people that were in it anyway. But I don't need to do all that. It gives it a air of connectivity. But having that ability to shift and then to launch and to grow. Maybe you have a brick and mortar location. Do you have an office? Do you have a store? In today's society, because of the shiftiness and insecurity and instability of what's going on in society right now, brick and mortar stores and brick and mortar locations are shoddy at best, because you don't know, do you really want to put $30,000 into paying off a building location for a month, 3 months, 6 months, $150,000 for a year rent for a building, if you don't know month by month, and with what's going on in society, what's going on in other countries, and so on and so forth, what's going to impact the United States, that it would be a waste of money. You understand what I'm saying? For instance, if a person decides to purchase a store right now, I wouldn't never suggest it. Why? It would be better to purchase a virtual office or a virtual storefront and sell that way than to sell from a brick and mortar location, because a brick and mortar location that, as we saw in 2020, can be shut down at the drop of a hat, and then you still end up having to put it online. At least if you have it online, then if you did have a brick and mortar location, if anything were to happen, it does not stop your business. That's why a lot of coaches, influencers, online presences had no impact. If not anything, they had more of an impact because of the fact that the pandemic happened. Their revenues went up 136 points, because there was no need for a brick and mortar location anymore. Now, let's say how would you go about this? Like, I'm a podcaster. Let's say I was to launch a podcast and or relaunch the podcasts that I have. I got a couple of podcasts that I'm already working on, and I have a new one coming up that I'm shaky or shoddy on when and how I'm going to launch that at this particular point in time. I have an idea of what I want to do, but let's say if I were to go through that process of launching the podcast, figuring out which one I wanted to launch or relaunch, then going through the tour, meaning booking a tour. Let's say I've been looking into the online presence of creating an environment and engagement and collaborative efforts with other podcasts. Booking those types of things, whether you're booking it or working with a booker to book it for you, to create a touring experience where you at the back end have the ability to, whether you're promoting a product, a service, and or pushing traffic to the podcast, a book. Because the first thing that they ask you at the end of any of those types of things is, oh, where can anybody find you? Instagram, Facebook, my podcast, XYZ. Give you the opportunity whether you can create a book, and some people use that as a sales funnel where they will create the book and then put a link to something that will link them to the funnel of their community or something like that, to become a part of their community, to become such and such and so forth. Maybe you are a musician. You would create a concert. How are you going about concerts? And in today's society, what does a concert look like? And what would that be for this innovative season that people are concerned about concerts and concert venues and being able to go into concert venues, vaccinated, non-vaccinated, what have you. And whether you're doing a virtual experience where people have the ability to see your concert online, that it's being visually promoted through camera by camera angle type thing. You can reach a larger group of people, but some people, and I've heard other entertainers say this, they like the experience of being in the room with the audience. So it's not a virtual experience. They want the energy of the people. It's like a writer that I want the energy of the people reading it, commenting on what I've written, because it gives me the energy and the desire and the consistency and the tenacity and the passion to keep moving forward in doing that. For a performer not having the audience, it can actually work in the opposite manner, especially if you're dealing with an extroverted person. An introverted person, they love the visual experience because that means I can perform what I want to perform without having to touch anyone. An extroverted person, they're like, I need to feel the audience in that space. I digress. Getting your book edited. Going to the right people, whether you're going through a company, working with a book publisher, working with certain different types of people that are in desire to get the book published, having the book launch prepared, working with certain people in order to make sure that the book is lining up your TV and radio appearances. Meaning, are you I went through a boot camp on how to set up television interviews on many of your local networks. And I've gone through at least 3 of these, but one of them stuck with me on how you would reach out and go through the process of getting on these shows and programs. And sometimes it's the connection of knowing somebody that knows somebody. And sometimes it's not even that. It's just simply who's in your network. LinkedIn is your best friend. Sometimes you just need to know somebody that has the access and or LinkedIn also connects you with companies that are willing to provide that type of service for you. And or because they know that you're seeking this type of service, 95% of your ads, if you say it, because our phones, if we do not notice, our phones are computers, and everything that we are connected to is listening to what we have to say. If I say it, I'm going to get an ad for it. Notice it. Start talking about certain things. Have you ever noticed the thing pop up on your advertisement to the very thing that you were talking about? Now, you know it's. You can only know it's God that did it if you were thinking about it and it still popped up. And I was like, okay. But that's another conversation. There was a book I got called Make It Rain. It helps you understand and carve out the message for media. Thank God I forgot what the name of that book was. I'm so glad I wrote that in this notes for this. I need to search that book because I need to get that on audiobook because that was a very good book. But I still got the notes that I took, and I took a good 15 pages of notes on how to prep to be able to be an open personality from an expert that used to do personal TV, and being able to prepare yourself to be able to be on what do you call it, TV and or any type of interview circuits. And they set you up in the right genres with the expertise that will position you to be on whichever platform that you are trying to build. So if you understand, for instance, I said I got 5 or 6 different things that I can do. If I know which one that I'm seeking to pursue, they will position me. I've had conversations in the past with people that are like, oh yeah, I understand where your goal is. We'll position you here, 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 and here. That's what preparing to birth that child is. These are the things that you will do as you are getting close to the real birthing of this thing that you are trying to develop. You want to gain credibility, testimony, giving you the experience. Perfect example. I went and I did a challenge about 3 weeks ago. I do not know why I'm yawning, but I did this challenge about 3 weeks ago. And in me doing this challenge, I came to the realization that when I told a certain segment of my story, I got so many raving reviews on it that I was able to keep those reviews. And once I was able to keep those reviews, those are actually credibility for me. Having accountability, being certified. I've been certified as a chef. I'm working on certification as coach. All of these types of things. And in coaching, you actually don't really need a certification. You just need credibility for your expertise. The regulations are not that heavy right now that you could still be a consultant or coach without a paper in hand. You can get an agent, you can get a PR rep to assist you and your team prep on launch. But I heard this, and it does still stand true. There was a businesswoman, and she made the point of saying this, that if you are seeking to have a team, know that you are taking money out of your own pocket and putting it into somebody else's. And the more that you hire, the more that money goes into somebody else. Now, I'm the type of person that I understand the premise of it may not be my expertise, so I'm going to pay somebody that has that expertise. But we also have the thing where I see a lot of people, especially in today's guru marketing, that they'll be like, oh, just outsource that and only pay 10% of the wage of what it is. So you 10x the price of something so that 10% of that price can thereby be spent on outsourcing it, and then you keep the rest. But my thing is this: who's getting gouged here? The person getting gouged is the person that's paying the money to you, and you're sitting there getting 90% while you're paying a very small percentage to the person that's actually doing the work on that thing. Yes, you have the idea, yes, you have the concept, but the person is doing the work. Now, if the work being done is being done by a machine or something like that, that's a completely different story. But if you're paying somebody and they're taking their time to do the hard work of building that thing out, then shouldn't y'all be splitting the profit even 50-50? This is the way my Christian brain works. Because a lot of people be gouging people for money, and it's like, if I'm getting paid, shouldn't you be getting paid the same? Because, yes, I'm using my expertise, but you're actually doing the labor for it. People don't pay the people that are doing the labor nowhere near the amount that is worthy of them for doing the labor which is done. Which I don't find that fair under any circumstances. And they do it on every level of business. I don't care whether you're corporate. I don't care whether you're a new business owner. I don't care what it is. And they feel perfectly fine doing that. But that's another soapbox for another conversation that may be on my podcast this week. Note to self. I might record that as soon as I get off of here. But prepare for what it is that you are seeking to do. Anything and everything that you do, no matter what it is that you're doing, however you're doing it, keeping moving and moving forward is essential to your end goal. So that is what your second trimester looks like in your pregnancy. I'm not going to belabor this because I didn't really have that much to say. I just wanted to go through the process, and we'll go into the next part in the next video. Well, I'll come back in about an hour and a half maybe to dig into that. We'll see. This is Taj McCameron. Steam to live the dream. Are you pregnant with purpose? All right. Till next video. Peace.